or try to write a policy that has never actually worked anywhere. But what a good idea. I don't know why I didn't think of it myself. If you want to join us on the phone in, tough. Because right now we're going to have the melodic moment. And it's rather a nice one this evening. This takes you back a bit. 1964.
Please lock me away.
I have the cassette of that LP in the car, and it's a wazzer. This next fella can sing a bit. If you want to join us on the phone in, the telephone number is Preston 561,000. How do Eva?
Hello, Alan.
Hello.
I just wanted to speak about people who have just got the L plates taken off the cars, have got a licence.
Yes.
Do you think it would be a good idea if there was another plate put on for a year, say, for new drivers or ID, you know, inexperienced drivers?
Well, new driver would suffice, because that system already exists in Northern Ireland.
Does it?
Mm.
Oh. You know, so to let other drivers on their own know that they're inexperienced because they've never driven on their own before, have they?
Absolutely. So it is a very good idea, and for the life of me, I don't know why this government, or any government, doesn't implement it.
Yes, I don't drive a car, but a member of my family's just passed, and I thought how traumatic it is when you drive on your own for the first time.
Absolutely. Well, John Gillmore's just passed his.
Yeah.
So I think he would be more than likely necessary to wear an N. In fact, we're thinking of putting an alarm on his that actually fires off when he's driving down the road.
I see.
But yes, it's an excellent idea. Pleasure. How do Ella?
Hello. I'd like to talk at the RSPCA in Preston. Well, I have a little dog who gets picked up, you know, quite often. And strays get picked up.
Why does it get picked up quite
often? Well, I don't know.
Why is it able to be picked up? Why is it able to be picked up?
Well, he has his tag on. He has his name and address on.
Why is it able to be picked up? Because it's roaming the streets. What is it doing roaming?
No. Well, usually, you know.
Are you saying the RSPCA man climbs through your letterbox and snaffles it?
No.
Does he climb over your garden gate and steal it?
No.
Does he find it in the street?
Yeah, usually.
So it quite frequently is in the street?
Yeah.
Then look after your dog properly. It's people like you that get dogs a bad name. Goodbye. How did Jim?
Oh, hello. I'd like to follow up a call a bit ago about the police.
Go on.
Well, that fellow, I was just agreeing with what that fellow was saying. I'd like to see how I feel about it.
Tell me about it.
What?
Tell me about it.
Well, about the disappearance of the sort of old-style British Bobby.
Well, they've got the disappearance of the old-style Law and Order.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Well, we have. The last time there were major strikes in our country... Major strike? No, I mean, way before then. The very big strike, the general strike of 1926.
That's what I just said.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said 1986.
No,
My apologies. Okay. Right. Well, at that time, the police tried it the nice way, and then they sent the army in with guns. Now, if you go back a bit further to 1819, in a place called Petersfield in Manchester, there was another strike. And there, the soldiers went in again. They didn't have guns, so they went in with sabres. It was called the Peterloo Massacre. You may have heard of it. So times have changed. The police, the police do not now go in firing guns. The army are not sent in anymore very often. They are sent in to do work, but they're not sent in to quell disturbances. So times have changed. The police are rather more aggressive than they were 5 years ago, but rather less aggressive than their predecessors.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, do you not believe that the Peterloo Massacre took place? Do you not believe that the guns were turned on the miners in the general strike?
Yes.
Well, I would have...
That was the soldiers, though, wasn't it? That wasn't British policing.
Indeed. So what I'm saying is that our law and order forces are such that they now use the police to do that without arms. Now, if you're saying the police are being given a role that belongs to soldiers, well, are you suggesting that we ought to pull the police out, for example, at Orgreave, and send in the soldiers to kill a few people?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is...
Are you saying... Let me answer the question first. Are you suggesting that we ought to pull the police out at Orgreave and send the soldiers in to fire off a few rounds?
I agree we should pull the police out.
Well, would you like to answer the question that's been put?
No.
No? Well, don't bother ringing then. Goodbye. How do Chardell?
Hi, Alan.
What do you want?
Yeah.
Yes isn't an answer to what do you want.
You were in Manchester quite recently.
Fine.
And you said you went to Rushholm for a curry.
That is true.
Was it the Plaza Cafe?
I've no idea. I can tell you, there are 2 curry houses. One's a takeaway and one's a restaurant on each side of the road, and they both have the same name. And I went in the one where you sit down.
Oh.
There goes another one in the 300 car challenge at Mr. Smith the Nissan Man, and another £20 to the National Children's Home.
Thinking of changing your hi-fi? Call into Lang Video Audio at Crumpton Street, Wigan, and Nersey Street, Bolton, the North's leading part exchange hi-fi specialists. Ring Wigan 323-897 for details now.
Carpets. Red ones, green ones, yellow and blue. We've got the carpets just for you at the Carpet Supermarket, Fletcher Road off Ribbleton Lane, Preston. Open 7 days a week.
Also at Long Lane, Aintree.
I'll do Andrew.
Good morning, Alan.
Morning.
I'd like to talk about abortion, if I may.
You'd like to talk about?
Abortion.
Go on.
I think it should be outlawed, or whatever the term you want to use, in every case, apart from the cases of rape, and where there is a definite possibility of physical or mental harm to the mother.
That is exactly the case now.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly the case now. You are not allowed an abortion on demand in this country yet. It has to be that you will suffer mental harm.
Yeah, but there are people who, mothers, or would-be mothers, who would have an abortion on the grounds that it's going to affect the welfare of themselves.
No. Currently, the law is quite specific. It says that an abortion is permissible if the mother is going to suffer emotional damage.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very, very loose phraseology.
It doesn't really say anything apart from...
what are you suggesting that it should say? How is it going to identify?
Well, what I understand by the word emotion is it involves mentally, as in the word of love, hate, that sort of emotion.
Well, no, those are only the, if you like, the peaks of the pyramid. Emotions are a lot greater than that. If you're going to suffer emotional harm, it just means you're going to regret it. That's emotional harm.
Well, sorry, I mean in the sense that it's mental harm.
But what do you mean? Cause them a psychiatric problem?
Yeah.
Well, of course, no one can predict how the human mind will respond to any given environment. So if there is emotional stress on the person, you may well give them a psychiatric condition that they wouldn't otherwise have suffered. And so the doctors can argue that this woman is at serious risk of contracting, for want of a better term, developing is the proper term, a psychiatric condition. Therefore, the abortion is acceptable.
Yeah, well,
the stimulus for that psychiatric condition will be the fact that she is emotionally distressed at having to go through with the pregnancy.
Well, if you like, that could be an excuse for an abortion. If a woman wants an abortion and she says, "Oh, this could cause me emotional stress," that could be an excuse.
Yes, the problem isn't the legislation, Andrew. I'm trying to get you to tell me how you want the legislation phrased to avoid exactly that situation.
Well, it should be put down more clearly.
But how? Because the words are not available to do it.
It should state something on like whether it is definitely going to cause.
But no one can ever. That will eliminate all abortion because no one can predict the future.
Okay, whether
it's the implementation you've got problems with, not with the act. Anyway, Andrew, it's now news time. My apologies. Goodbye.
The 1 o'clock news, this is Mike Carson. Jeffrey Archer is back at home near Cambridge with his family after winning his libel battle to prove he hadn't slept with prostitute Monica Coghlan. The millionaire author and former deputy chairman of the Conservative Party was awarded a record £500,000 damages, and the Star newspaper also will have to pay £700,000 in costs. Mr. Archer hasn't commented on whether he'll return to public life, but the man responsible for breaking the original story, former News of the World editor David Montgomery, says Mr. Archer has bounced back from worse predicaments, such as virtual bankruptcy.
Well, I've no doubt that he will go on to even greater things than he's achieved so far, but he's not exactly on his uppers. He's very successful in a number of ways, and he doesn't have any financial worries. And I think that's a better springboard now that he has than he had when he first came to grief over his debts.
The government is bringing in the measures to make roll-on, roll-off ferries safer. Transport Secretary Paul Channon says indicator lights showing whether the bow doors are closed, closed-circuit TV and emergency lighting units will be made compulsory on all ferries using British ports. And Labour front bench spokesman and former seaman John Prescott is criticising yesterday's findings by the Zeebrugge disaster inquiry, saying that the ferry's crewmen are being made scapegoats for the people in charge at Townsend Torrenson. The inquiry cancelled the certificates of the captain and the first officer and left the fate of assistant boatswain Mark Stanley in the hands of the ferry company. But the chairman of Townsend Torrenson, Peter Ford, isn't saying if there'll be any action taken against the management or crew of the vessel.
I'm sure you'll appreciate that I cannot comment on any disciplinary procedures, which is an internal matter for the company. That virtually all the people in the top management of the company are different to what they were before the accident occurred. Many of them retired, many of them left in any case during the course of the takeover that took place just before the accident.
Independent Radio News.
Well, IRN got it wrong again. They said Jeffrey Archer was accused of sleeping with the prostitute. That's not true. He was accused of staying awake with her.
Allan Beswick.
If you want to join us on the phone in, it's 2.5 minutes past 1. We're into the final hour, and the number is Preston 561,000.
Night time's the right time. Let everybody know you've tuned on to Red Rose Radio.
How do, Heath?
Hello, Alan.
Yes?
Hiya. Last night there was this lad on who was talking about calling Americans Yanks and that lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and did he say that they call us limeys?
Yes.
Yeah, well, could you please tell me why?
Yes. When the British Navy used to ply its 7 seas in wooden ships, and they used to be at sea for months, they used to contract an illness or a condition called scurvy, which is when the skin dries and they start to scratch it and it can drive you crazy. And scurvy is caused by a lack of vitamin C. So what used to happen is they used to carry limes, which contain vast quantities of vitamin C, and they used to eat limes, the British sailors, and so they got the nickname limeys.
Oh, right, thanks. Oh,
Okay.
Could you answer me another question, please?
That's right.
Could you please tell me where we can get some Flintstones boxer shorts from?
Well, it's a tricky one, but I'm sure all sorts of people would like to write in and tell us about that, but no, I can't.
Right, thanks, Alan, see ya.
Flintstones boxer shorts, seems to be a lot of rush for them. How do, Simon?
Right, Alan, are you all right tonight?
Yes?
Very good. I'd like to talk about the North-South divide. I'm sure it all affects us all. As I say, in the last general election, there's a definite, showing for the Tories. Oh, it's all money down there, and, well, I suppose poverty in some parts, but it's definitely more money down there. And I think, really, I don't know what you feel about this subject, but I think there is one thing that all the parties together have overlooked, and that is that up north, people have got a more realistic approach to life, where...
Oh, sun, sand, sea.
Pass the suntan lotion, darling.
What more could anybody want? Except the Fishergate Shopping Centre.
The Fishergate Shopping Centre. It's Preston's most sophisticated shopping paradise.
Deal direct with Direct Windows.
Direct Windows, the best way to buy UPVC windows and doors in Lancashire. We install the superb Bowater Halo system, and all work is guaranteed and underwritten at Lloyd's of London. Buy direct, avoid the middleman, and make hard cash savings. Visit the new factory showroom 7 days a week at 64 Red Scar Estate, Longridge Road, or phone Paul Kelly on Preston 703 008.
Deal direct with Direct Windows. Direct Windows.
On a sign by a house, there's a message and a name you should know. The message says for sale, and the name shows the way to move home. The name is White Gates, and that means action!
Tomorrow's kind of estate agent works fast to get results. With Whitegates, Red Rose sellers get red-hot service, and you pay nothing until the property is sold.
When the sign says White Gates, you're on the way to a sale.
Ian Stringer here, sales manager John Wilding's Garstang, inviting you to our Ford Open Weekend this Saturday and Sunday. We'll be displaying the Ford range, including limited model editions with styling and extras. Enjoy a glass of wine with our compliments and enter our free competition. Pick up written details on low finance selected models too. This weekend, John Wilding's on the A6 Garstang.
When you think about cars, it pays to think of John Wilding. John Wilding!
How do Margot?
Hello.
Hello, love.
How do you deal with a mother that's kind of dominated you? Oh dear. She's I got married when I was 17, and I had 2 children by the time I was 19. In all that time, I was being black and blue, and then it went on for another 2 years, and I was in and out of hospital with broken jaws and unconscious. And eventually, she dragged me away from it. And she kind of dominated me and made me stay away from it. So I went into nursing. I thought when I get my nursing sister's badge, I'll be able to get my children back. So she said she'd look after them, because every time she'd look after them via him, because as much as he hit me, he didn't touch them. And he always used to bring up. He knew when I was taking exams for it. Even just simple exams, just mock exams at the hospital. And he always used to ring up and say, "There's something wrong with the children." And I used to have in blank sheets. I don't mean sheets on a bed, I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
And eventually the principal called me up and he said, "What's wrong?" And I explained to him, and he said, "Well, we'll get you transferred to another hospital and finish your training there, because you're very good." But I transferred to the hospital on my mother's advice, saying that she'd look after the children. I didn't want to go, because I didn't want to leave the children. So I went to this other hospital. I eventually got my staff nurse, and then I came back to the previous hospital and got my nursing one. And my sistership, I should say. Well, then, the children have got to 16 or 17 years old. And whenever, now, I say to her, so they don't send me over their card, or they don't send me a birthday card, or it just turns around and says, "We're never the mother." But I gave birth to them. I'm trying to phone her up tonight, you see. Well,
Let me try to find out what the situation is. Your mum has the children at the moment? No.
The father has.
Their father has?
Yes. But court custody.
So he has custody.
I have.
let me just ask you for the moment. Who has custody? The father. What does the court say, or who does the court say should have custody?
Me.
How long has the father had custody in practice?
I got married in 66, I started in 72, and 66, from 1972.
The children have been with the father since 1972, that's 14 years. Despite the fact that the court order put them in your care.
Yes. Because I couldn't take care of them.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. What then do you want to happen now?
Well, I tried to explain to him, and I tried to ask him that. I found out things about my children now.
Well, don't worry about what you found out for the moment, please. Let's try and find out what you want. What do you want to happen?
I want my mother to understand what she's actually... She's dominated me as much as she's dominated my mother. My brother killed himself.
I'm not clear yet how your mother fits into this picture. Who do you live with? Who do you live with?
Common law.
You're now living with another man?
Yes.
So you don't live with your mother?
No.
I'm not clear how your mother can dominate you if she's not there.
She's very strict and very curt and to the point.
Well, she may well be strict and curt and to the point, as also am I. But you say she's dominating you. It's very difficult for someone to dominate you unless they're present, unless they're there with you.
Well, I've been ill. I've been ill for the last 4 years.
And what have you been suffering from?
Pardon?
What have you been suffering from?
Cancer.
Fine.
I've still got it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, manage it. And when we moved to this house, she just took over my mother and sister. And they put everything where they wanted it. They didn't ask me.
So who put everything where they wanted it?
My mother and my sister.
Your mother and your sister?
Yes.
Do you live with your mother and your sister?
No.
Well, what does it matter where they put their furniture?
It's my furniture.
So are we talking about your mother and your sister took over... When you took over your present home, your mother and sister installed the furniture?
My furniture
Yes.
from the previous house.
In your home?
Yes.
Does your mother and or sister live in that house?
No.
You live in that house with just yourself and your common law husband?
Yes.
Why don't you rearrange the furniture to your satisfaction?
I've done that now. What's causing the distress now is that my father left when the youngest brother, the one that committed suicide. Prior to that, he left. And she started to go out to college and get exams.
Do you mean your mum went out to college?
Yes.
Go on.
So she could get exams and things, so she could get herself on in the world, so she could pay. She put a shrine around him. And she really worked herself to the bone. She worked night, day and night. And she put a shrine around him. And she sent him through college and university. But it was me that was picking him up from school while I had 2 wee ones. And I also had a bad husband. But yet he used to come and he saw all the brutality. And through going through all this, and his father leaving him, he eventually did what he did. No, it's affecting my children.
How is it affecting your children?
They can't open up. Just the same way he went.
I'm sorry, explain what you mean.
They can't talk openly.
Well...
They can't express. It's probably in the mind, because they're very intelligent. But they won't bring it out.
I understand that, but why are you suggesting that that is your mother's fault, their grandmother's fault?
Because she promised to look after them.
Well, they don't know what she promised to do they? They can only react to what they know.
I've tried to explain to them.
What have you tried to explain?
That I have to go away for the sake of your own safety.